The Ed scams are more miss than hit, often going wrong due to poor planning and/or craftsmanship, incompetence, or a combination of both. When some of these scams go wrong, they really go wrong. But every once in a while, the Eds can actually put together an amazing scam that makes money. It's rare, but it happens. Which of these scams are brilliant and which one should have stayed on the drawing board? Hey guys, I'm Brad with Wicked Binge, and this is Edd and Eddy Scams, Dumb to Brilliant. There are a lot of scams to go over, so we're just focusing on the ones we feel are the most memorable in terms of stupidity or near success. We're going to be looking at 3 different factors: how successful they were in the show, how effective they would be in real life, and how much time, focus, or effort were put in. Let's get the most painful and ridiculous scams out of the way first. We're going to be starting with the absolute dumbest scams and work our way up to the most brilliant. For our dumbest scam, we're looking at Eds Hive Be Gone. This was one of the first scams in the series, and it clued viewers in that this trio wasn't the brightest. With this scam, the Eds offered themselves as a bee removing service. Given that this scam was from the first season where things were less wacky, this money-making scheme was more like an actual service than a scam, making it more legitimate and likely to succeed, if not for the trio that actually made up the bee removing team. This brings us to the reason why we call this scam the dumbest. The Eds thought the best way to remove bees was by smashing them with baseball bats. I mean, what did they think was gonna happen? The Eds realized how bad this idea was, since they abandoned it quickly, after getting stung by dozens of bees, of course. Look, there's having a dumb idea, there's having a good idea but with dumb execution, and then there's just plain being dumb. With there being no chance of this scam succeeding without proper hive removal and protection equipment, we had no choice but to deem it the dumbest Edd and Eddy scam, although there was steep competition. Up next, we have the various food-related scams. One of the easiest ways to make money is selling delicious food, something that everybody loves. But while Eddy may claim that he can make a mean omelet, the guy's no Gordon Ramsay. Most of the food they try to sell isn't just bad, but nearly inedible. With the ice cream truck, the Eds used a mix of baseballs, paper cones, and pink paint to sell ice cream. For Taco Ed's Mexican cuisine, ingredients included paper plates for eating, not for serving, dandelions, and crayon shavings. Possibly the worst example of this is Ed's Super Sweets, a scam that took place before the series, and that cost Jimmy his perfect treat when the Eds sell him a bowling pin as a dessert. The dumbness of these scams is twofold. For one, trying to sell someone poorly disguised food that's either disgusting or dangerous is going to end in either your customers asking for a refund or, in the case of the cul-de-sac kids, beating you up. Second, if the Eds decided to sell a legitimate dish one day, all these previous scams would have made them untrustworthy and would result in the scam failing anyway because no one would want to try it. We already saw examples of that in the show, with no one wanting to try the Eds tacos. Not only were these scams bad, they ruined future scams, making them dumber in hindsight. Next is Ed's Quick Repair Service. The Eds break a lot, and we mean a lot of things, so trying to repair their reputation with the repair service is already a bad move. Even with Double D's genius and knack of building things, those skills can't compare to the bad luck and incompetence that surrounds them. Trying to fix something as complex as a mini oven or sink is beyond even Double D's years. To no surprise, everything that the Eds try to fix in this episode results in more things getting broken. Granted, a lot of what was broken or destroyed is partially due to Ed's carelessness. But like we said, it's not like the Eds had the skills to properly fix most things in the first place, and Eddy put them into that situation by being overconfident. What cements this as one of their dumbest scams is, much like their food-related scams, the Eds didn't just lose out on quarters, but made a negative profit once they destroyed Johnny's home. As Double D says, they would have to work the rest of their lives to buy Johnny a new home. If it weren't for this being a wacky cartoon with not much continuity, the Eds and their families would have been financially devastated by the fallout of this scam. Even without real-world consequences, this was still a bad idea. The endless summer scam is next. Every kid wishes summer could last forever. Eddy tried to make that a reality and nearly succeeded. Through use of an outdoor heater and enough paint to keep the trees green, as well as changing all the calendars in the cul-de-sac back to July, Eddy was able to make it seem like it was still summer, despite the first day of school being around the corner. It's impressive how well Eddy was able to fool everyone, and it's this effort, as well as its near success, that puts it on the low end of dumb. While we commend Eddy for his efforts, this scam is illogical. The truth is revealed thanks to an autumn storm. Even if that storm hadn't happened, Eddy still wouldn't have been able to keep his scam going for more than a couple of days at most. Though the parents of the cul-de-sac kids are usually absent, either they or the teachers would have noticed the correct date or their absence in class and would have set the kids straight. So all this work would have been for nothing once that happened. Also within this scam is yet another food-related scam, with Eddy setting up a summer barbecue with old rubber tires as the burgers. You would think that after all this effort to make sure that he and the other kids wouldn't have to go back to school, Eddy would have put more focus into the actual money-making part. This element keeps this scheme firmly in dumb tier, no matter how successful it was for a time. At the edge of our dumb tier, we have the various theme parks. Many might remember this scam having several different but very similar forms, mostly due to Eddy's stubbornness and belief that he has a great scam on his hands, hence why he keeps wanting to recycle it, which he's not wrong. What makes the first of these theme parks, Raccoon Roundup, fail is that the only attraction it has, a shooting gallery, offends Johnny, who gets the other kids to agree with him, causing them to leave. If the Eds had used a different type of attraction the first or second time around, it could have been successful. Because of this potential, we're willing to give Eddy credit and admit that this scam may have worked under different circumstances. However, what gives this scam the dumb label is how much Eddy tries to revamp and resell it, to the point of absolute ridiculousness. From lazy redesigns to using the same attraction idea and getting the same results, Eddy refused to learn from his mistakes. His later retoolings are also dumb. After all, who would want to go to a place called Jogging Pants World or Bathroom World? No amount of potential would be able to save that idea. With all the fails out of the way, it's time to get smart and make some cash with the most brilliant scams. Starting with the least brilliant of the bunch, but still brilliant, we have The Ed Show. Popularity is a powerful thing, especially for kids, and the Eds exploit that in this episode. Although Ed's brief coolness is only surface level, being due to things as simple as a bath, cooler looking clothes, and a list of cheesy catchphrases, it works well. Even Sarah and Kevin, who usually dismiss or make fun of the Ed scams, fall for Ed's charming coolness. All the kids pay to see Ed say catchphrases and perform entertaining gestures, as if he were a celebrity. We get the sense that Eddy and Double D knew what they were doing while they were giving Ed a makeover, and their efforts paid off. While we do have to acknowledge that because his coolness is so surface level, Ed's popularity likely wouldn't have lasted more than a few days. That doesn't take away the fact that this scam was successful and made money. The reason this scam failed is because of the Kanker sisters crashing the performance, and that isn't the Eds' fault, so it's not like their idea can be blamed for that. If not for the sisters, the Eds would have easily walked away with a jar full of quarters. And spoiler alert, this isn't going to be the last time we mention the Kanker sisters ruining scams. It's time to take a trip to the cardboard city known as Edtropolis. When you live in a cul-de-sac, there's nothing more exciting than visiting the big city. Once Eddy realized this, he was able to create a cardboard metropolis that none of the neighborhood kids could resist. Well, almost all the kids. Within the city were several smaller scams, such as a tattoo parlor, shopping, and a shoe shine service. With it essentially being several scams in one, the Eds could have easily made a killing with this fake city. However, there are a few things holding it back from brilliance. For one, the kids have to pay. With the shoe shine service, Kevin paid Double D with a bottle cap instead of a quarter, and Double D couldn't do anything about it. Another thing that holds this scam back is how easily Johnny was able to ruin things, unable to be charmed by city life like the other kids. Without a way to keep him happy, this scam was doomed from the start. While impressively built, the city was still cardboard, and thus easy to destroy. While it may have been fun for an afternoon, we can't see this city lasting long. The kids will get bored or annoyed with it, or the city will be destroyed in some manner, like being knocked down, like in the episode, or by getting rained on. However, we're giving this scam credit for how versatile and attention-grabbing it is. That alone makes it one of the Eds' more successful scams. Speaking of Johnny, our next scam is Ed's Pest Removal. What's easier to exploit than popularity? How about annoyance? With this scam, the Eds trained Johnny to be an annoying pest. After sicking him on the neighborhood kids, the Eds would force their customers to pay them in order to get rid of Johnny. From a moral standpoint, this scam is scummy, as well as exploitative towards both the kids and Johnny. But from a business standpoint, it's brilliant, especially since Johnny is really annoying. Of course, kids would pay whatever they had to get rid of him. So why is it only in third place? The scam's not foolproof. Kids like Kevin, Sarah, and Rolf are violent, so they could have easily taken matters into their own hands and removed Johnny if they didn't want to pay. At the end of the episode, there was nothing stopping Johnny from using his powers of annoyance against the Eds, turning what was once a brilliant scam into a dangerous and painful experience for the trio. Although the idea and execution was good, its brief success wasn't enough to push it higher in the brilliance tier. One spot away from the top is Double D's House of Import Exports. The Eds open a stand that sells Canadian squirt guns, aka turkey basters. As simple as this is, it's the simplicity of the squirt guns as well as Eddy's showmanship that makes the scam an initial success. After all, who doesn't like squirt guns? So what if they look strange? They still worked, and worked well. Had the Eds quit while they were ahead, this likely would have been their most successful scam at the time. But like always, the Eds had to push their luck. Because the other elements of this scam, namely Eddy trying to be a sheriff, fail so badly, we can't give this scam the gold. It's a one-and-done scam. Once the kids buy the squirt guns, there's no more money that the Eds are able to make from it. Making things worse are the Canker sisters. If they'd been able to defend kids from the sisters' perfume-filled squirt guns, the Eds likely would have raked in tons of bonus cash. But these three are far from tough and fail miserably. Though that doesn't take away from the squirt gun's effectiveness as a toy, we can't blame any of the kids for throwing theirs away after the Cankers ruined their fun and made playing with them a risk. With the success of the initial sale, which is way more successful than the Eds' usual efforts, we still had to give it second place. We're naming Eddy's Creek Cruise as the Eds' most brilliant scam. Much like an exciting location or a fun toy, saying no to a legit cruise would be hard for any kid. This is demonstrated when Eddy turns a runaway inner tube into his cruise boat, and when he asks if there are any takers, every kid wants in. Although they were only able to take 2 kids at a time, they already had Rolf waiting for the next one, hinting that they likely would have made a lot of money through multiple trips. While it's no Titanic in terms of scale or fanciness, the features on Eddy's Creek Cruise would be enough to satisfy most kids, from a cooler full of snacks and fruity drinks, to some amazing entertainment thanks to Double D's music skills, to just being a relaxing boat ride. The Eds did everything right. While something like Edtropolis or the squirt guns are short-term moneymakers, you can make an argument that if things hadn't gone wrong, the Eds could have sold their cruise for at least a few days. Unfortunately, the only thing this cruise was missing was a way to defend itself against Canker sister pirates, and maybe a boat that could withstand bobby pins. Maybe that speaks to how successful this scam would have been, that the show needed to bring in the Cankers in order for it to fail. For these reasons, Eddy's Creek Cruise gets our gold medal of brilliance. Alright guys, that's the list. What do you think? Which scams would you consider as the most brilliant? Let us know in the comments below and tell us which series you'd like to see next. Be sure to hit that notification bell and binge our other videos. Check out our Edd and Eddy Good to Evil. But most importantly, stay wicked.